Welcome to Culture Before Content. Culture Before Content, from Music for All and presented by Yamaha. And now, here's your host, David Duarte.
Hey, welcome to the show. As they said, I am David Duarte, your host. And a big thank you to Music for All for supporting this podcast and to Yamaha for the national presenting sponsor that they are and for investing in music education and making conversations like this possible. And just as a reminder, our mission, everyone's mission, Music for All's mission, is to create, provide, and expand positively life-changing experiences through music, which I hope we all do. And I think we do. You never know. All right. Couple of housekeeping items. As always, I think it's like I'm into this lovely pattern. All right. So there's two ways to engage with this show if you want to be here live. And if you're here, you're live. If you're not here yet, you're not. I don't know. We'll keep discussing this. So anyway, you can do it on Facebook, which is one of my favorite ways. You just go to Music for All, find their Facebook page, scroll down to the events tab and mark that you're interested or going. And it's always interesting. You have to mark interested and then you have to wait for 10 seconds. And then you can go. I don't know why you can't go first, but that's the way it works. Anyway, it's typically available every Saturday. I did it this week. And then that's how you can watch it and participate in the show. If you're here for Facebook, you can type in the little comment section and it'll pop right up. And then the second way, which is one of those great ways, is to go to YouTube and also search Music for All and then find the live tab and you'll find the show. That one's super easy as well. And you can also use the chat to join the discussion as it happens. It would be great. So if you're here, type something out. Craig, are you here? Oh, wait, Craig, I got some surprises on that one. All right. Anyway, then after the fact, you can watch the videos on either Facebook or YouTube anytime. I mean, the second the show ends, you can watch them. Like me, watch them like 8 or 9 times. I'm kidding. But then the full audio episodes drop every single Monday, Tuesday, right about there. Sometimes midnight, sometimes 5. Who knows? Just check it out. And that's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other major podcast platforms. But no matter what, you can always find everything in one easy place. Just visit musicforall.org/podcast. All right, that's it. Let's get to the show. All right. I was asked this week to find a guest. Every once in a while, that does happen. So for those of you out there, just know I don't always find a guest. I mean, I did back in the day, but lately, the Music for All takes care of me, and I get to meet some amazing and wonderful people. So this week, I got my chance to choose, and I thought to myself, you know what? Let's bring Craig Gustafson back. So if you go all the way back to episode 59, you will find the original broadcast of Craig Gustafson. And just to speak about it, Craig and I only knew each other because we work in the same town. Well, technically, I lived in the same town, but I worked in another town. But anyway, Craig is he's great. He is the director of orchestras at Evergreen High School. He's also the band director, and he also teaches instrumental music at the elementary level. He teaches orchestra at a couple of elementary schools. We'll talk about that coming up soon. Anyway, he's also the president of the Lower Columbia River Music Educators Association, or as we call it here in the area, LCRMEA. I'm sure you have your MEA. But Craig is going to come on the show today because I wanted him to come and talk a little bit more about culture because he's got to live I don't know if they'll say nightmare, maybe say dream. I don't know. I'll let him decide. We actually ended up working together. And that was what I decided. Let's talk a little bit about culture because now we can kind of see the perspective of why this show came to be. Maybe why I'm the host. I still don't know why I'm the host. I'm going to figure that out someday. But enough of that. Let's meet Craig again. So please welcome back from episode 59. Please welcome Mr. Craig Gustafson.
Hey, David.
Hey, Craig. How are you?
I'm doing great. This is so cool compared to last time. Here we are.
Well, I'm not just going to say the funny part out loud is you're sitting in your office, which now is a regular visit. So now it's I can totally picture where you're at. The last time you did it, I had, you've only been in that room for a year. Brand new. By the way, that's a brand new room. Audience.
Not even a year.
Oh my God. It is so beautiful. It still smells like new still.
It does.
But you had, I don't know, unfortunate problem of that I ended up becoming the band director as well with you. Because let me explain, audience, is that we don't team teach. We don't team teach anything now that I think about it. I mean, we kind of show up with the pet bands together, but we co-teach at the same school. And so what it is I teach technically 2 sections of band and a jazz band on a stipend although we teach it as a third section. And Craig teaches two bands. And let's see, I teach wind ensemble and percussion and jazz 2. Craig teaches jazz 1 and concert band. So he has the older kids in the morning and the younger kids in the afternoon, and I have the younger kids in the morning and the older kids right after that. But it's a unique thing. And he also teaches the orchestras at the school, which, by the way, are fabulous. And then both Craig and I get to go down, and I always like to, if anybody wants to talk about this, talk to our arts director. This is a fabulous program. We both go down to the elementary schools 4 times a week, and we teach the 5th grade. Craig does orchestra at 2 elementaries, and I do the band at 2 elementaries. But like I said, I think the big thing about the show today is, like, I wanted you to kind of put a perspective on, like, really what culture's like and how it kind of drives what we both do, and just kind of do a revisit. Like, I think the show needs to be titled "I Got Stuck with David Duarte, and Now Here's What It's Really Like." I think that's the name of the show. So, all right, Craig, I'll let you speak now. So tell us what you really do, and then maybe we can talk a little about culture and maybe talk about a little bit what it's been like working together.
No, you kind of said everything that I do. Little band, a little bit of orchestra, it's great. And having you come on board has been really fantastic. I mean, I don't know if any of you have read Scott Lang's book and the description of David. It's pretty true. It's pretty true. And in just the best ways possible. It's really great. We talk every day. So this is why this is a little bit weird. We're used to being in the same room.
Well, because we're forced to talk at the same time. We're on a schedule today.
Yeah, no, this is true. This is true. But it feels to me like it's a reset for me, even. Like, I even feel like a new teacher, because I haven't taught jazz 1 in a while. And so I'm like new to jazz 1. The concert band is freshmen, so I'm new to them, and that's a new class. And it's all kind of new for you. The only thing that's kind of same old for me is the orchestra. And that's been going, I've been building culture in that and things for years and years, and it's going pretty strong. But I think between the two of us, we got something good we're starting here. It's going to be really great.
I think what I want to start the conversation with is, like, I believe, like, I think I say this all the time, the older I get, the less I know. And taking over a program, I can't even, like, I just got to be the 6th or 7th program I've either helped or come to, and I'm the new guy. And I've and it's my whole thing. It takes years, would you not agree, to, like, establish yourself at a program? And no matter how good you are, how bad you can be, it takes time to filter some of those things. And so, like, for you, like you said, you're new to Jazz 1 and you're new to the kids every year in concert band. It's like, all of a sudden, I would agree that we talk about culture most of the time when we're trying to fix things.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And so, what are some of the things, like, maybe that has changed since I've showed up for you? Because I don't, we, neither one of us monitor each other. We just kind of go and do our happy things. But what's been different on the culture side for you for this year?
I'll say one of the biggest things that I'm a big proponent of, and that I do on the orchestra side, is getting the band side more student focused and getting the students in charge of things. My favorite thing is pep band games and just the students doing it. I mean, once they get going, the students run it, and that's really how it should be. I mean, something I've always thought is I should never be in front of the band at a football game or a basketball game. That's for the students. It's not for me. And, maybe it takes a game or two to teach them the inner workings of the ref or this, or, win the ball. But that's the biggest thing. And I'll tell you, man, the Evergreen pep band here, I'm not seeing this many kids and showing up to games in a long time, which is really cool. They're buying.
I think part of it, I love it. Like, I remember my first football game at the school. Like, it was just energy galore, because we had, our district has one football field for all 4 schools. So it's a unique because there can only be 2 home games because they do one game at like 4:30 and the next game kind of at 7, depending on the game before. And so the schools have to kind of share the facility. But the neat thing is, I think that we get to see bands, we get to hear bands every week, but like the energy of the pep band from day one was something to be said. And so this is like that old versus new versus old. I will say, being the new teacher on campus, it was a unique perspective that I got somebody who had been there before to take over. Cause it's like, even though I'm new, I was able to, any tradition or that stuff, I had you like, as I've told you, like the way, if you want to know where my anxiety lives, it comes from never having done something. And it doesn't matter whether it's, I know what I'm doing. I just, once I haven't experienced it, I have to do it. And you were there. I mean, I didn't realize this at the time, but you were there to guide through the first game. But I don't think I realized at the time when we had the drum majors go at that first pep band game, it was their first game where the students were in control. Yep. And so like the growth of that pep band over the course of the season was great. And now that we're in basketball band, I think we're discovering that basketball band is super fun.
Yeah. And they're totally digging it. It's for sure.
Yeah. And so like some of the things that we did, like we've added a ton of music. Like I think we've added 8 pieces or 9 pieces. I mean, probably more. I don't even know. I've lost track. We've just added a bunch of music that we can play at the game. And, I was thinking about this, we haven't done a lot of sight reading here in the first couple of weeks, past winter break, even though it's February already. But I mean, we have read so many pieces of music, including all of the concert band and wind ensemble literature in terms of a sight read. And I just think, there are some times where you can term some of that, but I think that like just that culture of acceptance of pep band has been super special.
Well, yeah. And the big thing, about pep band is that's when our 2 classes get to meet and they get to interact with each other. And I see it at the games. They're starting to become friends with each other because that's an advantage band right now has over orchestra a little bit. They get to have more moments where they're together in like one big band. And that's something, our second semester starts tomorrow. And it's something I'm going to try to implement a little bit more with orchestra, with some more things to try to, because I'm just going to go off to the side a little bit. Like I have a by audition orchestra that's phenomenal and they're all friends. And then I have the other orchestra, which is very big and has a lot of freshmen in it, and they're not as together. So I'm going to do some things like starting tomorrow that'll get them more just to like each other, talk to each other. They're gonna make big old posters of each section and put their names on it and have a decorating contest. I'm going to do that tomorrow, just to get them interactive. We're going to have a day of just not playing. We're gonna make some cool decorative things just for that, and we can do that kind of stuff for band too. Just I think concert band, that's something they would totally dig. All those freshmen from 2 different middle schools coming together to do stuff like that, but. Yeah, those kids coming together, the 2 bands being able to do the pep band and marching band thing, that's been a huge deal. And I think it's what's going to be the big hook for those freshmen to stay in and keep going.
Yeah. And, there's a picture of us on right now. And that was from, I want to say that was from the first game because Craig ditched me on the second game because I had things to do. And so I had to go through my major panic of how to run. It's one thing to run a football game, but it's like 2 games in, it's like, oh my God, if I had been the only director at the school, I would have already done this through force, as opposed to, like I said, I think it is super amazing and unique that we don't teach any of the same classes together, but we completely run that as teammates, everything's done. And, and I think the other unique thing is, you've been teaching 30 some years. I've been teaching 30 some years. We have a ton of experience between the 2 of us to like fake anything. I mean, I really feel like we could fake a bunch of stuff. Oh, there's our picture. That was just the other day. That was Saturday.
Yeah, it's just Friday. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Friday. Sorry.
Yeah.
Today is Sunday. I lose track of the days.
All this experience and we feel like we don't know anything. It's fantastic.
I know. Well, that's like I said, I just think of like, and part of why I want to do this podcast today is because we get to think through things as directors, and I kind of want to give some ideas to people. And like I said, I will flat out tell anyone who's listening, I am not an expert in my field. I am just a guy that does his thing, and I like to share doing my things with other people because that's where I learn from. It's like this podcast. Every week is a different guest. podcast and I pick up something, I might pick something up from you. Okay, there's a picture on the line, and I'm going to let you describe it to our listeners because I knew this was going to pop up. Go.
Okay. So I'm dressed up as what I found out is a virtual pop star named Hatsune Miku. And this came about every year. We have a winter bazaar where people come in and do crafts and things. And I have a particular orchestra student who puts together a raffle for Mr. G to dress up as something. And I think this year it was like the blow up dinosaur thing. It was this costume and something else I can't remember. And almost $450 went into the bucket of this costume.
Wow.
And I wore it to school on Wednesday, just a few days ago. And I didn't realize how popular this particular character is. I walked through the halls and kids who aren't in band, aren't in orchestra, stopped me constantly for selfies and pictures. And they're like, Miku, Miku. And they were over the moon. And of course, you know, the band and orchestra kids, they thought it was the greatest thing ever. And it was actually really fun. It was fun to do that for them. And especially for the student that put it together. She ordered the outfit, got the wig, and coming out into the first period orchestra wearing that. And it was like paparazzi. The cameras were out everywhere. It was really fun. And I think just that was a huge team building thing. That something like that could be a big culture builder. You know, your
I'm just impressed you have the with it all to, like, you know, have the security in yourself to put on something like that. And so for those of you who don't know, like the separation between the band and the orchestra rooms, actually, it's not a lot, but it's not a little either. Like you have to go down a super long, tiny hallway, and then our school is kind of like a bunch of junctions, and it's at the junction of the front office, the library, and then there's the orchestra rooms right there across the library.
It's a main junction of the school.
Yeah, it is like a main place, and like, you know, you just run into kids that you don't know, and they're just. But the kids were so fun. You know, even when you walked into contraband that day, because you know, it's kind of funny because you left. I don't think you were wearing it for jazz band. Next thing I know, there was Craig. There was not Craig. And I just said, I don't know what's going on here. I will just accept what's going on and bring and go with it. But I know there's a question coming up. Here it is. It says, what do you guys do for students to dance and move around during games and not care what their friends in the stands think about what they are doing? That is an interesting question.
Yeah. I would say
our kids dance and move around quite a bit, I would say.
Well, and it comes from the upperclassmen. And it's been there for years. I mean, even when I got here 11 years ago, they were doing dances to all the cheers, whatever cheers we had, the drum cheers. And it always starts out the upperclassmen do it. And the freshmen at first are kind of like, I don't know. And then, and then usually by the end of the first game, they're doing it, and then boom, they're fine. And it's just, and to be totally fair, when we did new ones, the previous director, Jared Sorm, and we did it like over the top. And, you know, you got to embrace your silliness, and you got to be ridiculous. And the kids see you doing it, and they'll start to do it. And then the younger kids see the older kids do it. You just got to build it. It takes a little bit of time, but you have to be willing to do it too, as the teacher.
Yeah, well, I also think too, what's really helpful is they have such big buy-in, and you know, and this goes back to that, you know, when you said let's make the drum majors in charge, and like, you know, and like you said, when I showed up to Washington, and for those of you who don't know, Washington, we don't have marching band. For a lot of our schools don't have marching band, so the substitute has been pep band. So we're really active in our football and basketball lands, and those are the heavy times. I don't know if you saw the picture earlier, if you're watching, but we are in full marching band uniforms. And so we will use those for our upcoming parade. Just, hey, I could put notes in the little chat here that say, don't forget, we have a parade on May 3rd. We got to plan for. We should probably start planning some of that. But we do. There is the picture. We are in full marching gear, and the kids, you know, it was weird because I was wondering if the kids embraced the uniforms coming from a school that didn't have uniforms, and they totally do. So when it comes to like, how do you get the kids to dance and move around? You know, as Craig said, putting the kids in charge makes a huge difference, I think. Like when those kids do Hey Baby, or like some of the shorts, there's some moves to some of the short tunes that we do that the kids just have down. And it's just kind of like, I think once the buy-in is there, they do it. It's just about a matter of, you know, culturally, it has to be built in, and it kind of has to come from them.
Yep. Student leaders in front leading the way, full buy-in.
Yeah, and I'll say this because this is we're gonna talk a little bit about festivals and and some of those things. So I wanted to talk about how long has it been since we've been to a festival? Less than 48 hours.
Wow.
And so when was the last time we had a concert? Less than I don't know what it was Wednesday. I've lost track. We have
Yeah.
concerts this week. We have
Thursday.
yeah, it was a while ago.
Was it? Yeah.
See,
Wow.
I've lost track, but maybe we should shift, to like talking about this because this is my belief of like, this is the things that we do. If you love it, take it. If you don't love it, modify it, do it. Because like I said, and the thing about having somebody on campus like you, Craig, is I learn just as much, and I may not express it enough, but like I'm paying attention all the time of every single detail that you do. It's like, oh, maybe I should do that too, or maybe like, there's those things that we do back and forth to help each other out that are just, and that may not be there when you're by yourself. But that's why we like steal those ideas. Like you said, you're going to have the orchestra kids do some culture building on Monday, and I think about tomorrow, and I'm already thinking, oh my God, let's watch the videos of the jazz bands together tomorrow. That can be a start of our, and for those of you not realizing, we are just getting to second semester tomorrow. Yeah. Which by the way, if you're a second semester, do your grades, they're due. And also my other standard one, it's festivals coming, everyone, please order your scores. Don't have that excuse. Get them ordered now. I lost track of where we're going, but with this, but I mean, let's go down, because I think I have my beliefs of festivals and I have my belief of all the things that a festival has to offer. And so, let's talk a little bit and maybe and I'll let you speak a little bit more of this. To me, there are two types of things that you can go to. There are festivals where you go for a rating, or you could go for improvement with the clinician, so to speak. So it could be like a time to go work with somebody, that type. And then there's competition, and there are pluses and minuses for both. And so, maybe you could speak to the festivals that we have here in Washington, since you've been around a little longer than I have.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, festivals, if I'll just start with some concert band stuff. So like our regional one, it's just for rating, and, rating, and you get a clinic. And, trying to think what else. We have the jazz band festivals. We were just at a very competitive one on Friday at Clark College. That one, there's placings. You find out who's first, second, and third place. There's some orchestra ones. The orchestra ones and none of these are the band ones, the concert band ones are not competitive. And from what I remember, we don't even know anybody else's rating either. You don't find out. Yeah. You only know your own. You only know your own rating.
Although there's an although in there.
What's that?
You do eventually get a sheet that has all the scores on it.
Oh, but no names.
But no names. But then you start to guess.
Yeah. And I'll be totally honest. It really depends on who runs the festival too, as to what you get. I mean, there's no Washington State, this is how it's done. This is the sheet you use. These are the kind of judges you should have. I mean, each area kind of does its own thing. I mean, there was a point where we even had our own judge sheet. Orchestra does like a completely different sheet. For band, we usually use the organ one. We use an organ sheet. And is it followed? Kind of, but
it depends on who's judging and if they're Oregon judges. And so let me tell this to the audience out there. So we live next to Oregon. So Craig and our school is, what would you say, 10 minutes from Oregon? I mean,
it's super
like,
close.
Get on the freeway, go across, get on a bridge for like 8 days. I mean, it's a big thing. But the difference is we use those same sheets for rating, but those sheets used in Oregon are competitive for festival. Like they have to score. It's an odd sheet out there for if you're listening, because you have to get a 75 to 100 is a superior. And so the first time you live through that sheet and you see like an 81 and you think the world has ended, it's like, oh no, you got a superior, but it feels like I got an 81. And then I think 50 to 75 is an excellent rating. So it's kind of like it's
something like that.
It depends on how the sheet's used. So like just in the difference, just in our own area, we have some really good high schools in our district, and we have some amazing band programs in our district. But we use those exact sheets that Oregon uses, but we use them for totally different reasons. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And really the way I've always seen the band festival is, just putting your best foot forward, see if we can get in as close to superior or get a superior. That's what really the aim is, to get a superior, and hopefully get a good clinic out of it. I
Ah.
mean,
Ah.
I knew you were going to make that face. I mean,
That's, and
yeah,
well, see,
clinics
let's
can
go
be a
back.
crapshoot. So
Yeah, and so like I was thinking of that. This is one of those times I wish there was like 100 people online so I could get like a little opinion in there. But I will still say we need in life a better version of what a clinic is supposed to do. Because I always say the same thing. You remember people for how they make you feel, and every clinician needs to remember that. Like walking into the door, those kids, those directors have all just put their heart and soul to everything that they do. And then that's the first thing you want to remember at a clinician's mouth is that yeah, we might all need some work to go on the performance that's just happened, but create a connection first before clinicking second. So, I in my terms, I believe when you go to a festival or competition, you have to go for those different reasons. Like Craig said, we went to a competition, and I think I've said this over and over, and I'm not going to, my opinions are my own. They're not Music for All's. They're not anyone's. They're not even Craig's. But I'm not a big believer of competition used as a source for improvement. I think the competition for me is within your own band, because how your band sounded in September, how your band sounds in December, how your band sounds in May, that's the competition right there. And so, I should ask you before I answer any more, what is your view on the competition festivals?
Well, I see it a similar way. I mean, my thought Friday was, are we better than we were when we were at the Skyview Festival back in December? You sent me the video of it. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'm looking forward to it as soon as we're done with this. And also, some kids get real competitive. And I said, we're not going anywhere to win. That's not the goal. The goal is, to put our art out there in the best way that we can. And that's something I've always been a big proponent of. I mean, I will freely admit, probably 20 years ago, I was a bit competitive. I was doing competitive marching band. That was the thing, and I thought, oh, all of this. And as I've gotten older, it's like, no, that's not what it's about. It's about, if you are going to compete, you compete against yourself, always constant improvement and working towards those goals. And I will say, on the other side of clinicians though, the Music for All one, I have always enjoyed the clinicians at what Mountain View High School does at the regional Music for All. Shout out to Music for All, the regional festival. Even when my orchestra was there and I had a band clinician, it was still a great clinic and really, really good quality stuff.
Well, I'm in love with the Music for All affiliate festivals because that's exactly what happened. We had Pat Sheridan last year because, again, I was at a different school last year. And then it is so nice because I think Music for All's mission and their mission speaks, positively, and just start with the word positively. I think everyone needs to kind of remember that, because I think when we get to this, clinician competition, I am not anti-competition. Like I'm scared to enter, or that my goal is to go and do a job that I know I'm not going to win. Because I think it comes down to the conversation that I want to talk about is the access to resources and what you do with these resources and who has resources. Because, you smaller programs out there, you might not have access to resources. Because I have been, where you're 60 miles away. When I taught at Deer Valley in Glendale, color guard was always the biggest problem with competitive marching band, because you are dependent on kind of like Arizona State University being the center of where everything's at. That's 50 miles, to your school. And can you get people to come out? Can you pay them to come out? And that's, as I always say, there are two things I cannot do competitively. I cannot do drumline and I cannot do color guard. What I can do is hire well. But then trying to find that person that's not already hired by school A, B, or C. And, it's kind of like that weird little game of what access to resources we have.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I dealt with the same thing when I worked up in Kelso and started the competitive marching band up there. It was just me and a color guard instructor. And it's 45 minutes from Portland. And it's forever in this area. That's ages away. But yeah,
my gosh. I love, for those of you who don't know where Kelso is, it's about, 45 minutes to an hour. I don't know. I
North.
lose track. You just go north on
Yeah.
I-5, and Kelso's the next bigger city away from there. But,
It's Kelso and Longview together, really. I mean,
I know. Well, you just kind
yeah.
of go up I-5 and next thing you know, oh, look, Seattle, we're here. But there are cities all along the way. But, it's, I say this about competitive marching band when it doesn't exist. When you start it, that's on you.
Yep.
But it goes back to the same thing like we had, just with the jazz festival we went to this last weekend. In your opinion, what would make your band better? What would make my band better is probably the same things. But what would be, what in your dreamland, what would make the band better? That's not us.
What would make the band better that's not us?
I mean, we're there every day, just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I would say one of the things we've already been doing, like having a fantastic clinician come out, Chris Bria, who used to teach up at Central Washington University. That guy, he's incredible. Makes the band sound better right away.
Incredible.
Pure, plain, Chris, if you can hear me, shout out, man. You're the bomb. And anyone in the Northwest, get Chris Bria out to work with your jazz band. It's worth it.
Yeah,
what else is it good? And I'll be hot take, I guess.
I love hot takes.
I saw Friday as more, and this is the jazz festival, as more of a chance for my students to listen to other bands than get any feedback from anyone, because I didn't expect much, and in the way of feedback, I wanted them to hear other bands, because that's one of the things, even with my orchestra, when I go and play at the State String Orchestra Festival up in Bellingham, we do it as a team building thing, so that, because we're on a trip. Trips are big deal. Kids remember the trip. They don't remember what you played. They don't remember the score you got. They remember the fun time they had with their friend at the bowling alley and at the hotel and whatever, and to get to hear the other orchestras, because not just good bands in this area, like some of the best high school orchestras in the Northwest are here too. And to be able to hear other orchestras from around the state too, and just kind of like, oh, okay, now I can hear kind of other groups and kind of compare it to what we're like. And that's really what I think makes us better, is being able to hear other groups, because all we hear is ourselves every day. It's like we're staring at trees all day long.
Oh, they're pretty trees, though.
They are pretty trees. But it's
by the way, I'm going to throw this out there because they haven't shown up yet, but I know they're coming because I went to a festival at the school last year, and the cherry trees in the middle of our campus. I am waiting for the day those things bloom. That is probably the prettiest thing I have ever seen at a school, and I am looking forward to the day that happens.
Second week of March, baby. That's when they.
Well, I'm ready. I'm not ready for the mess that comes after, but I am ready for that. But let me back you up on that jazz festival thing, because I haven't. Craig and I have not actually talked about the jazz festival experience, because we have our band separate, and not only that, we ended up having our trips separate because it was finals day. I know it was periods 4 or 5, and we couldn't line things up the way we wanted to between transport. Shout out to our transportation department for pulling off what they pulled off on Friday, because my bus went and picked up Mountain View and then looped around. They just did runs and took care of us all day long. But here's some of the follow up I got. And this is I'm going to go back to the clinic and the competition part, but the kids sat and listened to bands. And I think we listened to, I want to say 6 or 7 bands. I think I gave them one off to go get a snack, because I realized at some point I didn't give them any time to that festival has the snack right off the, so they could actually hear the jazz at the same time they were getting some. Anyway, the kids came at me. This is my shocker of the day was, hey, Mr. Duarte, we want to play more ballads. And I was like,
cool.
Really?
That
awesome. Would be amazing, because I've spent my whole life trying to get kids to play and want to play a ballad.
Yeah.
And that came from listening to all the other bands. And that came from, just them actually finally allowing them the space to get it. And so I also wanted to piggyback on a couple of things that you said. If I had my dream for our program, these are the 2 things I would flat out think we should invest in. 1, an improv specialist that comes in every week and just improv, because I think that's, if I, for me, from my past, I played at Midwest, I played at Wibbick, I played at IAJE. I've done all. Chris Brier was my soloist at Wibbick. I'm just throwing that out there. Another shout out to Chris. We didn't even meet. We just kind of soloed together. But the number one thing is I had improv came from bringing it in and then passing it through the band. I think that's one of those things. If you can ever bring out somebody to constantly do improv with the kids, it'll happen, because it's not going to happen for me. I don't know about you, but my improv skill is, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's the letter R. So that's one. And the other one is that I would love to think that programs and us should invest in is a rhythm section specialist. Because I think there's the one thing that I believe that you and I do well is ensemble. We're pretty good at getting the ensemble to sound good. And that goes back to like competitive marching band. How good is your color guard skills? Mine are terrible. And how good are your percussion skills? Because mine are also terrible.
Well, and that was one of the things I listened to on Friday, and I've told the kids at Jazz One, I said, the difference between good bands and great bands are the soloists. I mean, you even them all out, and then you hear the soloist, and you're like, oh yeah, there you go. You hear this like fantastic soloist, knows where all the color notes are, knows where the bridge is, can make musical sentences, make a musical conversation. It's a big deal. And no, I totally agree with that. And rhythm section is so key. It's so key. And it's something that we have a lot of work to do on. And, us both being new, we know it's a multi-year process. So
I will even say it, because this goes back to, if you ever read that Scott Lang chapter, people, the description is accurate. I am the first to admit it. And I hate the fact that it is, because it's killerly funny. But I really think that we have to invest in what makes those kids fly. And it takes years. I will say, sometimes you can magically do it in a year, depending on the resources and the type of kid you have. But I still think it takes 2 to 3 years before you can kind of get to like the baseline of where you're going to be. Like you say that also, I'll say things in terms of like, if it comes to marching band, it's going to be percussion and color guard and just, visual. Those 3 things take a long time to get it paced in your program without models. And then for jazz band, I think it's improv and rhythm section. I think those are the 2 things. And then when it comes to concert band, I think it's, sound concept. And I think it's also getting a ton of people to come and listen to your band so that you can actually hear. I don't know if you're like me, but like when I hear the band and I step away from it, I feel like I'm hearing a completely different band than the one I stand in front of every single day.
Totally.
And so, now I keep losing track where I want to keep going, because we start talking about things like, oh, we should talk about this. Now
festivals. We talked about clinics.
Oh, I know what it was. It's the idea, I believe. And this is like ideas for everyone. I've told you my jazz idea of our area, which is to form a little, and this is one of the things that Phoenix, you do this extremely well. Young Sounds program and the Barb Catlin, Milas Yos, all those people out there that helped build Barry Black back in the day. So Young Sounds is like an all-star band that the kids were a part of. And what I learned is, if you want your kids to do better, honor bands are one way, clinics are another way, but I just, taking private lessons, that's the other thing too. How many kids do have actual resources and access to private lessons? I digress. But, I want to put together an honor jazz band in our county, in our area, with the hopes and dreams of that we bring in those improv specialists and those rhythm section people so that we can get that to pass back to the schools. Because I think we talked about this, and it's the culture of sharing as a teacher. I think we do too much I'm all like, I'm alive all of a sudden. I think we do too much to keep stuff to ourselves when we need to share. It's not see, this is where I think competition sometimes gets the best of us. It's not a competition to make your band the best. It's a competition to keep your band as good as it can possibly be. And that sharing is what does it. And if you want your kids to improv, you want your kids to play, alto sax, you want your orchestra to sight read better. It happens from sharing. Like, I'm sure, how many, you had a student audition for the regional area orchestra, the youth orchestra around you, and the work kind of, what are the things that you believe that those things give back to a program?
Well, the big things that it does is like when a kid comes back and says things like, wow, it was really cool to be playing in a group where everyone was kind of on the same page, or everyone really cared or something like that. But also they come back with things like um, some of the things that we say in class every day that kind of go like, shoom, like that. And then, but for some reason at honor orchestra rehearsal, it sticks, whether it's, you don't have to practice 2 hours a day. You can practice 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes a day makes a massive difference, or things like for the orchestra kids, whether it's music things or just getting to know the people around you, take a minute and go, hey, my name's Craig. What's your name? Oh, we're, things like that. And what I think is really cool is, especially about our regional honor orchestra, is that we get our kids to know each other to where I have Evergreen Orchestra kids who had a big celebration because one of the orchestra kids at Union got into Harvard. Wow. And they made a super big deal about it, and it was funny because I called Tim Cease, who's the orchestra teacher over at Union. I was like, hey, my kids are super excited about, your concertmaster who got into Harvard. He's like, really? They know each other? I was like, yeah, of course they know each other. They're all social media friends because of honor orchestra. And it's just really cool that way. Just those student connections. And I think that's the real thing. Because that's one of the things that my top string orchestra does. They meet together a lot. They have sectionals all the time, but that didn't happen this year. That started 4 years ago with like 3 kids. And then it was 10 or 11 kids and then a few more kids. And now all of a sudden it's a regular thing. Every week there's sectionals. It's just what they do and they figure it out. And it'll take a while, but those kind of things can build from that because they found out, oh, Union does that. Oh, Mountain View does this. Vancouver School of the Arts and Academics does that, and kind of, what's going to work for us. Those things.
It's funny you say that too, because I was thinking like when you were saying the Union kids, because we have to remember like our district is kind of unique and not every one of our middle schools directly feeds a high school. The kids kind of go, and I learned this on speaking of the first game, because I believe was it Union was right after us on the first game.
Yeah.
And so all the kids knew each other because half of them went to middle school together at one of our middle schools.
Pacific Middle School. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I saw some of the, and then it reminded me that, I just feel like if we can think of all the things that we could do as a music education society that are a we base, how much better would we all be? Because it goes back to that competitive thing. If you've been around Washington for a long time, I have not. And so you can kind of we should do like the historical perspective of Washington through Craig Gustafson's eyes. But but on your own personal side, how has it changed? How have you changed? I mean, you've been around the district and the area for a long time, but what would you like to see from either our program, our area, our state, or anything? What would you like to see change, or what do you like keeping the same?
I would like to see more of and I don't even know how to do it. Just more collaboration. I mean, there's so many islands, and I don't mean literal. There's plenty of literal islands up Puget Sound, but these musical islands around the state. You think of the Tri-Cities area, the Spokane area. We're in the Vancouver area. There's kind of the middle of the state, and I hate to think of it this way, but it's how it feels. Like I was in Kelso, the forgotten middle of the state. It really feels that way. And there's the Seattle area, there's the Bellingham area, and that Seattle area includes Tacoma and Olympia and all these big music programs, the big, huge jazz area of Seattle that's well known. There's a way we could all collaborate more. I don't know what the answer is, but it would be really cool. And I'll tell you, I fell into it when I was in Kelso of just like, I guess I'm my own little island. I can't get anyone to come out here. And I could have probably reached out more to other places and just, do visiting concerts, sharing concerts together. We go up there, play for each other. And what was really cool is just Friday, Phil Scamahorn from Heritage High School, another one of our Evergreen high schools, just like, hey, we need to have a shared jazz concert. And we do, Phil. We definitely do. And we just need to get on it. Make it become a thing. Make it become a thing. And our kids get to know each other.
It's funny you see that because in my version of it, it's the kids need to see each other to see what's possible, probable, things they do well, things they could improve upon. I hate to say this, but it goes back to reflection. All of us reflect, and we do better when we have something to base it upon. You
Yep.
know, I think competition used wisely is a great thing, but when it's used poorly is when I think my brain goes. And so, sharing some more things. So I met the band director. Speaking of the so let me explain. I'll back up here to everyone who's not from the state of Washington. There are so many pockets. You've got Yakima, you've got the Tri-Cities, which is super east from here, which is far from Spokane, which is on the same plane, but it's there's the Spokane area, there's the Seattle area, Yakima area, Ellensburg. You got all these areas, and we're not kind of connected. Like, where I'm in Arizona, you've got the Phoenix area, the Tucson area, the Flagstaff area, then you're gonna kind of got the remotes that are based off. It's a little bit more centralized, and even in Texas, you got more of the centralized cities and some of those things. But I funny, if you asked me to name the Tri-Cities before Friday, I would have not been able to do it. And the reason I now know it is because I met the band director at Richland. His name is Matt Larson. If you're listening out there, I want him to come on the show. And I told this out there because our bands bonded going through the process. It was like the whole thing you want a festival to do. The kids got to meet each other. The directors got to meet each other. We got to hang out. We got to talk. And it really came down to like a chance to we do need to share more. And so, I talked, and you and I have talked about this, about going to the University of Idaho Jazz Festival.
Sure.
And I talked to him, and guess what? Hey, we could stop and do a concert on the way. We could do an exchange concert. And I think that's one of those things that I would love to do. And I think we all need to do this more. Do exchange concerts, even if they're a couple hours away. Raise money to do the bus. I've actually met a lot of directors on here from football and basketball playoffs, and I've formed some of those relationships with people I didn't know I was going to change schools this year. But I think you say that right. I think collaboration is key, not just from the students' perspective, because we do need to do that, but collaboration from the director's perspective. I don't think we are social enough as an education society.
No, totally. I agree with that. And as a music teacher, it's just too easy to just get in your little box and just be there. It's tough. Sometimes it's tough to reach out, but you just got to do it, and you'll be better for it. Your band will be better for it. Your kids will be better for it. And the best thing that'll happen is your kids getting to meet other kids from other schools. It's the coolest thing. Like my orchestra last year, we went to Spokane. We got to stop at Ferris High School, and we got to meet the Ferris High School Orchestra. That fantastic kids gave us a standing ovation when we played for them. This is really cool. And it was fun to have them go, so what's the name of your music again? Because we want to get our teacher to play that, because we want to play that music too. There you go. It's very cool.
I know. Heaven forbid the kids are excited to do what they want to do. I know. And again, it goes back to that student-led ensemble thing. And I that's the other thing I was thinking about, competition versus like a festival situation. I believe every kid has to play. It doesn't matter how experienced a kid is. They need to go do things, and they need to have exposure. Like, you might have a set drummer who's not the most experienced. You might have a kid who's all state that sounds amazing. But if we focus on winning the festival, is that kid who's not necessarily as gifted going to get that chance or exposure at a festival, when that might be the one thing that sparks them to get to that next level?
Yeah, that's true. It's very true.
So, it's funny because these silly podcasts are funny because we still have time left. I'm not saying we're stopping, but I was thinking to myself, there are a couple things that have been popping in my head. How have you changed since I showed up, and how much have I changed since you showed up? And what are the things that we could, what are the things that are going through your mind of what we need to do, just as, as us? That's
okay.
a hard question.
It really is. So things we need to do. Well, I do think we're on the right track with the whole pet band thing, getting kids together more, and that's great. And it'd be nice if we could do something like some kind of mentor thing with the older kids and the younger kids too. With the at the wind ensemble and the concert band kids. Even, and with the Solon ensemble coming up, almost like even coaching each other, just more of that student interaction. And even if it just ends up them getting to know each other better and play a little bit better than they did before, I think that's it. What were you
You've
going to
got
say?
my brain going like crazy because I was talking about to the kids. It's funny because I always say this. Even though we teach together, we teach again. I'm going to keep saying it, audience. We teach 0 classes together, so our ability to see what the other does is very limited and small. And we do. I mean, we do can, but it's not like we can just completely spend time in each other's classrooms or get to know each other. I mean, we hang out more than we teach together. Let's
It's
agree
true.
on that.
Well, I
But
don't
I
get to
was
see you teach wind ensemble at all, though, but you get to see some of concert band, and I
You've
wish.
come in a
wish I
couple
could.
times during printing sessions to hear them for
Well,
all of 32 seconds. Come on.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but what I was thinking, this went back to section leaders because this is one of the things that I inherited. Like I said, the unique thing I have is even though I'm new, I'm old, so to speak, because I'm able to channel through you things that have been done and how has it really been done, and the fact that I'm taking over for somebody that it's really easy to take over from a program that's been doing things pretty much the right way. And so the things I was thinking about section leaders, I haven't had my chance to work the leadership the way that I wanted to, and I was just thinking, what, I need to have the section leaders in wind ensemble go after the sections in concert band. It's funny that you say that because it's they start, and believe it or not, that's Monday's task. They got to have sectionals after school over the next 2 weeks. I don't care
awesome.
and again, it goes, I don't care if everyone I care. Don't take this wrong if you're listening. What I mean by I don't care is everyone needs to show up, but if they can't, it might be an orthodontist. I even said this. It might be an orthodontist appointment. It might be I'm wrestling. It might be I'm on the basketball team, which we have, but we still need to live the process and do the things because that's what I'm trying to teach the kids. Is this is a job, and the job comes with those things. But I think part of that is getting those older section leaders to talk to those younger kids. It's weird you say that because that's on the docket.
Yeah, well, and I want to follow up with that because I want to say it was 3 years ago when I started having orchestra do sectionals. And so I would have some student leaders come to me. I don't know what to do, Mr. G. No one's coming to the sectionals. I don't know what to do. I said, you keep doing them. You keep doing them and you keep scheduling them, and it's going to take time. And it didn't even happen completely that year, but the next year, okay, here's sectionals again. So more kids booked it. And putting it as a teacher, telling the parents that this is, there's going to be sectionals, students should be coming after school. And now here we are in year 3 of it. And every chamber kid comes to every sectional after school or before school, every single time. Took 3 years to get them all to do it all the time. So if you're thinking of doing it, you just got to stick with it. Do it every week. Have those student leaders say, keep at it. They will come.
Process before product. Is that
it's
what
like
we're discussing?
Field of Dreams. It's like Field of Dreams. You build it, they will come, and they will. It's just going to take time. Just keep at it. Keep at it. Keep at it. Don't give up.
Here's an accolade for some of your orchestra kids. They are there before I pull up in the parking lot, and I'm there pretty early. So there are kids waiting for me at the door, and we have a unique situation at our schools. Our doors auto unlock at the band room so the kids can get in during the morning time, and I think that's amazing because it locks right after. But that's the only time of the day the kids can get in, but they can't get in until that thing clicks off at the right time. But you always have kids there ready to go doing some of those things. But I was thinking on those sectionals things, and this is the culture of this is something down the road. Teaching the kids the difference between goals and wishes, because I always say this, you need to build your sectional on goals. It's not about getting a superior. That's a wish. It's not about playing this perfect. That's a wish. It's about what is the goal? Like, have you tuned, or I'm going to play this section 5 times, and just starting some of those processes. Because here's another shout out, Dave Coons, if you're out there listening. We've been bringing Dave Coons in once a week via Zoom, which y'all need to bring in clinicians via Zoom. I've got a whole secret on how I'm getting that done. But the unique thing is he can speak to the kids, and I can sit there and document, and then I can tell the kids, the section leaders, you need to put that into your sectional. So we've talked about a bunch of things more and more, because that's the first thing I think of when I think of sectionals at a new school is the kids are going to run the music. They're going to do it 2 or 3 times, and then they're going to call it a day. And what have they accomplished? I don't know, but at least they had fun. I mean, that's what I want to do is actually get things out of it that they've accomplished through setting goals, because that's a whole cultural thing.
Well, and my hot take is that sectionals don't always have to be about music. It doesn't always have to be about music. It can be about we're learning about each other, or we're listening to it. It could be a listening session. So that was something that I had to teach kids, is that, you don't have to sit there and woodshed for an hour. That's not what sectionals are about. It's about building up as a section, all aspects of being a section. Maybe this day you're just working on bowing. Maybe another day you're listening to style and trying to match style. All those kind of things. There's a lot to it. So, yeah.
Or do an essay on the difference between Beethoven 7 versus Beethoven 2, whatever. Just do those kinds of things.
Yeah. And all these things, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it now. All these things, email me or David, and we will happily write any of this stuff to you, or we can jump on Zoom and talk to each other. It'd be super cool.
We would only do that because we are such nerds. But I will say this, I'll say this in my version. Email Craig's to email me to email David. I'm not kidding, because it's like literally, I don't know who out there can answer email on a daily basis, but if you figured that out, let me know. Because as engaged as we are, like I teach at 4 schools. And so like sitting down is not happening till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But I digress. And so let's go with this comment. We've already been going 55 minutes, and these podcasts, I know, right? It goes so and we still have to plan tomorrow.
It's too fast. Okay.
I vote for we show the videos to them, and then that gets us out of 0.
Well, we don't even have jazz band tomorrow because of the late start. We don't.
Oh wait, what time does school start? See, I don't even know. Now it's just
they're doing that late start thing because
that would be reading the email I haven't got to yet.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have a podcast on me listening. That'd be great. All right. So I digress. So what, have been different for me as a guest because we know each other super well now. If I go back to that first podcast, I didn't know you more than I knew you like Star Trek, and we met casually. I toured your room, and that was it.
Yeah.
But today it's your chance to give whatever you want to say on the way out for the studio audience. And then we'll talk about socials to share with.
Sure. Whatever I want to say on the way out, stay student driven, give students as much ownership of your program as you can, because like David said, I am not the be all end all of anything. I am not the sage on the stage. The more, like he said, the more I feel like I'm learning, the less I feel like I know. But the kids are the key to your program being successful. They are the ones that are going to drive the train. You can guide it. Here's where we need to go. Here's where we're aiming. How do we get there? Because you're the ones that are going to do it. I learned that with the success of my orchestra program. It's like, it's all student driven. Our success is because of them, not because of me. But I just help lead the way. And that's where it is. It's all about the kids. It really is.
And that is why we work together so well. I think the less we do, the better the band is, but it takes how many years does it take before you believe that as a teacher?
Oh my gosh. Too long.
All right. But I digress. All right. Now we can share social. So this is the best part. I actually don't even need to look at this because I know these by heart. So if you're going to email Craig, and I would, because he'll actually respond, it's craig.gustafson@evergreenps.org. And you can actually put my name at the top of that and still get me at school. Probably a better chance of actually getting to me. But to get to Craig, he's not kidding. We would hop on Zoom, and here's the weird thing. We just love talking. We just love talking shop. I know we have some other socials. We have your website, which is evergreenorchestra.org. By the way, audience, that is, if you ever go to you can have like a Google website and just create those, which is what we do. I just bought that tag so it forwards to our Google site. So if you ever want to know how to do that, email us. It's really super simple. But evergreenorchestra.org, and then we have Evergreen Bands because we have multiple for some reason. Evergreenbands.org. That's the other website. And the Instagrams we have are at Evergreen HS Orchestra.
And that one's student run. If you get a chance to check it out, the kids run the whole thing. It's fantastic.
And then I think we have the band Instagram as well, at Evergreen Bands Vancouver WA, which is Evergreen Bands Vancouver, Washington, because there's 2 Evergreen high schools in the state of Washington. So I made sure that we had Vancouver. But this is where we didn't even talk about that. This one actually is run by us, by students, and by our booster organization actually runs a lot of this, and it just goes to our Facebook page as well. But at Evergreen Bands Vancouver Wall. But they're fun. We're learning how to do social media. Sure. But Craig, as always, I can't wait till I get to see. Maybe I can have you on the show next. We can see each other again, or wait till tomorrow. One of those two.
Well, I'll join all the podcasts and make sure that I'm asking questions and giving comments as usual.
Yeah.
So I love
More
it.
of you out there bring questions. We love the questions, and I love the participation. Anyway, Craig, thank you as always. Maybe you can
Thanks,
have some
David.
steak for dinner or something. I don't know.
Please, steak soon. I love it.
Please, we'll get her going. All right, Craig. Thanks for coming.
Yep. Take care. Thank you. See you in the morning.
See ya. That was super fun for me. It was just a different idea. I am telling you, just from my heart, that gentleman has been super inspirational. We've learned a lot from each other, and I will not say that I am not. I am lucky to work with someone else who's a music teacher on my campus. The dream someday would be we actually get to do it at the same time. So anyway. Thank you for spending a part of your day with us. And as we wrap up, we'd love for you to share this podcast on your social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you want to put it. Because when you do, more people find the show. Maybe we get some more questions, and it's great. And I have some resources for you, for those of you who are new. I have my website, davidduarte.org. My favorite tab, I'll tell you flat out, is the Instruction Hub, because it's got all of my stuff from when I was an administrator, lesson plans, PLC stuff, standards, all those fun things that we do on a day-to-day basis. And you can also email me personally at david.duarte@me.com. Technically, david.duarte@evergreenps.org, just like Craig. And I have my social page, which is really just a repeat to know that we're having shows at Culture B4, like the letter B and the number 4, Culture B4 content, all one word. And don't forget, this episode and all the others is available at musicforall.org/podcast. And a big heartfelt thanks to Music for All for bringing the show to life, and to Yamaha, who's our national presenting sponsor, for making this all possible. I'm David Duarte. Thank you for being a part of our culture. And by the way, we're taking a week off. It's Super Bowl. Go Seahawks, maybe? I don't know. Or is it Patriots? I'll let you decide. Anyway, I will see you next time.